Hey there, this lesson is on equation of a parabola. Now, you may have learned about parabolas when you did quadratic equations in Algebra 1, but that was a very basic equation. What we're looking at now is specific parts of a parabola. Now, a parabola can technically open up or down, or it could also open left or right. Now, if a parabola opens left or right, like this, technically that means it's no longer a function because it won't pass the vertical line test. But that's okay, because when you get to Algebra 2 or pre-calculus, you'll learn about something called conics. And conics, it doesn't matter if your parabola is a function or not. So when we're looking at our parabola, and we'll start with our basic, and all of our parabolas today are always going to have a center at 0, 0. If you remember, the width of a parabola changes based on whatever number is in front of the x squared value. Now, a parabola technically has a couple of parts. It has a focus, a directrix, a focal length, and then we also have a way to tell if it opens up or down, left or right. Now, a focus is the point that is an equal distance from every point on the parabola. To find that focus, we want to know our focal length. Focal length is the distance from the center to the focus. So distance from center to focus. And that's what they call it, the p-value. Now the p-value is very important because if we look at our equation, if I have a parabola that opens up or down, notice our equation is x squared equals 4p times y. So if I want to find my focal length, I have to look at what number is in front of the y and then set it equal to 4p. So if I had x squared equals 16y, that's my equation for my parabola. To find my focal length, I look and my number in front of the y is 16. So I know that I have a 4p equals 16. So that means my p is equal to 4. So that means in this equation for my parabola, my focal length is 4, so I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that means that my focus is at 0, 4. Notice how it's 0 p-value, so 0, 4. Now the directrix is a line that's on the parabola, but notice how it's also going to be away from the focus. So wherever the focus is, the directrix is in the opposite direction. So since our focal length was 4 up, to find the directrix, instead we're going to go 4 down. Oops, I lost my pen. So my directrix is y equals negative 4. So once you know one, you can find the others. So that equation should actually be y equals negative p. And x equals negative p. Sorry about that. So the main thing you have to be able to do in this lesson is identify, based on an equation, where is my focal length? And once I know my focal length, go up and go down to find my directrix and my focus. Now notice I have two equations here. This equation is for the up and down. It's when it's x squared. If I see a y squared at the beginning of the equation, now I know instead that my parabola is going to be opening either left or right. Sorry for my sad little parabola there. So notice that left means that that number in front of the x now is a negative. So let me erase my stuff down here. And let's say I have an equation, y squared equals negative 32x. So here I notice that it's a negative, and I see that it's y squared, so y squared means left or right. And since it's a negative, that means it's going to open to the left. So now I want to find my focal length, my focus, and my directrix. So remember to find the focal length. We know it's 4p equals, and the number in front of the variable this time is negative 32. So that means my p is equal to negative 8. So negative 8 means my focus is at 0, negative 8. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 8. So there is my focus. Then remember the directrix in this case is going to be x equals negative p. So since it's already a negative, that becomes a positive. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And there's my directrix, and the directrix is a line. And we're done with our problem. Now, they may give you a problem that looks like these guys. Starting down here on the bottom. If they give you directrixes or an equation, the first thing we want to figure out is what direction does it open. So the two places we're going to look is either the directrix, like this top problem, or the equation. So if we start down here, it tells me the equation is x squared equals negative 8y. What direction does it open? So if I look, my equation is an x squared. So I know right away when I look at my set of rules here, x squared means it's either opening up or down. So I know right away that it's either up or down. And then remember to figure out if it's up or down, we look at that 4p. A negative means down, a positive means up. So if I look, my 4p in this problem is equal to negative 8. So since it's a negative, that means that it opens down. So let's look at this one up here. It says if a parabola has a directrix at x equals 4, what is the focus? Well, before I can figure out the focus, I need to know, is it opening up or down, left or right? Because that controls which direction our focus is. So I see that it says the directrix is x equals 4. So if I look on my up and down, my directrix equation is y equals. So that doesn't match. So now if I go to my left and right, I see that my directrix is x equals. So since my directrix is x equals, I know that it opens right or left. So now that helps us because if I know where my directrix is, it tells us my directrix is at x equals 4. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of our problems are starting at center 0. If I count, that means my focal length is 4 away. So that means the focus has to be 4 away in the other direction, which will put it at -4, 0. So if we know the directrix, we can find what direction, and then I highly recommend having a piece of graph paper handy so you can sketch on it. Graph your directrix. We know all of our parabolas are at 0, 0, so count how far away it is from 0, and then count how far away in the other direction to get your focus. Now, we can do the same thing on this problem. If a parabola has a focus at -4, 0. So now it's telling us the focus is at -4, 0, which is what we just did. And I know it's going to my center of 0, 0. So that means that my directrix, if this is 4 away, my directrix also needs to be 4 away. So my directrix would be here, and you have to remember it's at x equals 4. So anytime we're going left or right, the directrix is x equals. Now let's look at one last equation. If a parabola has an equation x squared equals -8y, find the value of p. And remember, p is our focal length. How far is it from the center to our focus and the center to our directrix? So remember we said the equation is x squared equals 4p times y. And if I look, in place of the 4p is a -8. So we know these have to be equal to each other. So we do 4p equals -8. So that means p is equal to -2. So hopefully this quick overview has helped you. The key to this section really is having this set of notes in front of you and making sure that you always check, is it opening up or down, left or right, and using our directrix equations to help us with that. So I hope this helped you. Thanks for watching.